Hello and welcome to the Daily Backup for Monday, the 21st of September. I'm your host, Nick Boy Richardson, and I'm joined by Peter, the Woodsman Burns. Peter.
I've even got a little axe on my shirt today.
Hey,
there you go.
Look at that. Look at that.
There you go. Well prepared.
I also have weapons on my shirt.
Do you?
In the form of
the New York City Lakers.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Let's calm down. Come on. Let's not do bits where it hurts the other people, okay? I was all supportive of your dumb axes, and then you have to just make fun of the only good thing in my life right now. No.
Oh, that's sad.
I don't mean that at all.
Do the Lakers still do they perform well?
Oh,
the
boy.
Lakers?
Oh, boy. They used to not perform well at all, and then they sold everyone and bought LeBron James, and then LeBron James brought in Anthony Davis, and then now it's looking like we're going to make it to the finals. Just got to beat the Nuggets. Just got to beat the Nuggets, boys. You can do it.
So is there a Super Bowl of basketball?
Yeah. It's called the basketball.
That's a cute mug. Look at that little dinosaur.
Look at this mug. So this mug picked out for me by my son because his favorite thing in the world is dinosaurs more than his family and liberty, and his favorite color is pink. And so he saw this mug and he was just like, so had to get it.
And fair enough.
Show me your mug action. What are you rocking?
I've finished my coffee. I thought, like we already established, I thought we were starting half an hour earlier. Yep. I slammed my coffee.
Yep.
And here I am, coffeeless, but well caffeinated.
Can I just say,
you may, please do.
I appreciate your patience, I suppose, because you messaged me at 4 minutes to 10 and were like, are we going live in 4 minutes? Would you mind just popping in so I could do a tech chest? And I was like, oh no, it's 10:30. And then you went, oh yes. But the fact that you waited until 4 minutes because you were like, I'm sure he's fine.
He's pushing it. But
there's probably a reason.
On the hour we went live. So
That's true. Welcome, everybody. I see some very lovely people in the chat. I see your Maiden Muses, who's obsessed with Crusader Kings. I see your Kit Carnages. I see your Dusk Bunnies. These are names we all know. These are like these people talk all the time. I can't shut these people up. T59 have not seen that name before.
GCap's here. I don't see GCap in Twitch a lot.
No, it's been years since I've said the name GCap. Although I do think I said it last week. Quiet Victory Beer, fantastic. Nightbot, welcome Nightbot. And
so good to see Nightbot again.
And then Contraband. I get it. It's like contraband, but your name must be Cameron. These are all hero, I assume, Pocketeers, because if you're watching at 10:30 in the morning this show, you're probably part of the lovely Patreon community. But if you're not, then I thoroughly recommend heading to patreon.com/backpocket and becoming a part of this wonderful community, because we are filled with beautiful human beings who just want to spread love and joy and some really explicit artwork. And those are the three things that I feel like keep an online community functioning. So I did want to take a moment to shout out, because I thought something we could do is... We reference a lot of people. This is a community show. We try to say as many names as possible. But there are people who have never spoken in Twitch chat. Like me. I never speak in Twitch chat for anything that I watch except for this. Do you? Do you speak in Twitch chat?
No. Well, rarely. When I know the person who's streaming, I'll be like, hey, and then I'll not talk again.
Yeah. But that's only because you want kudos, right? You just want them to be like, I'm watching.
No, not kudos, but I do want them to know that I'm there, like to support them. Like if Miles is playing, like I'm not going to be like trying to dominate the chat that he's having with the people he's chatting with, but I'm just going to be like, hey man, I'm watching. And then if he goes, hey Pete, what's this? And I'll respond to him. But other than that, I'm not there to steal the show.
Right. Well, I mean, I agree with that. But the only reason I speak to Miles is just to keep up like the semblance of a relationship so that we can profit off him appearing on our show when we need him to. That's why I say hi to Miles when he's streaming. But I did think that what we could do is just shout out a random patron each day, because there are a lot of people who don't talk in Twitch chat, and they're the silent heroes of the Pocketeer community. So shout out to today's Pocketeer patron extraordinaire. And that person is Lindsay Gordon. Hey, Lindsay Gordon.
Lindsay Gordon.
How are you doing? Thank you very much for becoming
a
patron of our beautiful community. And Lindsay, may your day be filled with announcements of more launch titles for these consoles that we're all desperately justifying. to buy. So you brought some good love and luck to our community by being a part of the Patreon, and we hope that you also bring luck and love to these consoles who certainly need it. Peter Burns.
Yeah, Lindsay. I would just like to apologize if you're a lurker for a reason and you don't like to be called out. But you signed up to Patreon with your name, so you gave us the tools to attack an attack we have.
Yep. Check the terms and conditions. I'm sure there's something in there. And also, I'm also sure that you'll never check the terms and conditions. So I could say that there's anything in there, and you'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I should probably check.
You may be one of those people that lurk so hard that they don't even watch. They're lurking from so far away that they, like, you're a patron, but you don't actually watch anything because you're too nervous to be this close. Yeah,
totally. And now it's like you've been called out. People are saying your name in the chat. I DM'd your address to a bunch of people so that they can send you gifts, but who knows what else they're going to do. So there you go. Thank you very much, Lindsay. And now I am saying thank you to Lindsay. I'm saying thank you to these people, but Pete, none of these people matter because there is there's actually 4 true Pocketeer fans, but the one we care about today. Let's get your exclamation marks out in the chat. Exclamation mark Tim. The news is brought to you, of course, by Hero Pocketeer Tim from the Learn Programming Academy. Tim is just the best programmer on the planet, and he admittedly is paying me to say that, but I believe it to be true from the brief amount of research I've done into Tim's career. Tim's taught nearly 1 million people how to program. I assume he taught all those people how to program. Maybe he taught them other things as well.
Maybe he didn't even teach 1 million people. Maybe he wrote an algorithm that teaches the people, and he's only taught he only taught the bot. He only taught the bot.
He only taught the bot.
That's how good he is.
Tim confirmed only teaches robots. That's how good a programmer he is. He can't speak to people. He can only speak to robots. Thank God as well, because you probably need some programming in your life. All these courses are video based, so you don't need to read, which again, I always read off as like some sort of like exciting thing, but like reading is important. Please learn to read. They're easy to watch at all skill levels, and you can even watch them offline on your phone. They're cheap. Most courses are $20 or less, so you can become a programmer who only speaks to robots, just like Tim, and who also can't read, just like Tim. Anyway, go to the Learn Programming Academy, lpa.dev/backpocket to learn more and get on some of these educational courses. Pete, let's jump into the news.
Let's do it, but I just want to say King of Realms 11 is claiming to be Tim's nephew, so there you go.
Really?
King of Realms 11. Connected. A connected man.
Okay, King of Realms, DM me like literally any fact about Tim. And
we'll cross-check it with him.
Yeah. And I mean, we could just cross-check your name, but I want to go. I want to test this.
Yeah. Where's his mole? Where's that weird mole that everyone has? Where's his version of that?
You're right. The one thing he can't program is to get rid of that mole.
Should we do some news?
Yeah, sure. Is Tim even fucking watch it anymore? All right, let's jump into the stories. The first one we have. Cyberpunk Night City Wire Episode 3 came out last week. This is the insight into the Cyberpunk development diaries. They're very well produced. They're very well made. Cyberpunk just have more money than God. PlayStation, Xbox, they put on these hour-long shows where it's like, here's all the trailers and stuff, and they go, we'll do these once or twice a year. These guys are coming out with something once a month, and they're still developing a video game. Yeah. They put out some trailers, but Pete, the thing that caught my attention, and that should catch yours as well, as someone who is in exactly the same boat, CD Projekt Red has said that Cyberpunk 2077's campaign will be shorter than The Witcher 3's, because a lot of people didn't end up finishing The Witcher's story. Senior Quest designer Patrick K. Mills discussed how the campaign will be slightly shorter than The Witcher, because even though a lot of people got very far in the game, not as many made it all the way to the end. How exciting is this?
It is very exciting. I find that messaging very very deliberate, slightly shorter, because they know how much people loved how much Witcher game there was.
Yep.
The 5% of people who played the game who finished it.
Yep.
I'm pulling that stat out of my ass, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's kind of where it was. I mean, I would love to see a more concise game that I can finish. We're both in the same boat on that.
Yep.
as much detail and depth and lore as you can possibly give me, but just keep it a little shorter and keep me engaged the whole time. And I mean, I guess the length of the story wasn't really what put me off though of The Witcher. It was like how much there was to do at any given moment. It was like I can go in. There's 360 degrees on this compass, and I could pick any degree and go in that direction and find something to do. Whereas maybe it was more about how the game pushed you towards the story, the major story beats. And if this does a better job of that, I think I'll be more inclined to play through it. Slightly shorter, good, but also I think just like a more... It's hard, isn't it? A more refined storytelling, but also keeping the world building that you've done in The Witcher, which was obviously very effective.
Yeah. And I mean, unfortunately, they are talking about the main story, but like you and I had, where you go, the main story was not really our issue. It was how easily we get pulled off into other things, and that they have spoken around that, but they've said, I assume it's just going to be as lengthy, if not lengthier, because they said that we do want you to see the full story, so we did shorten the main story, but we have lots to do, and in terms of a completionist campaign, I just don't have that number. So The Witcher 3's main story, according to How Long to Beat, takes an average of 51 and a half hours to complete, and a completionist run of doing all the content of the game is like 172 hours. So I think that they are doing that balance thing of like, oh yeah, we'll make the campaign a little shorter so that you guys feel like this is an achievable finish. Maybe, I don't know, 40 hours. I'd take 30 hours, but if you still have 150 hours of content, extra content in your game on top of that, and that it's good, then it doesn't really matter how long or short. Like the main story could be 10 hours long if what you've got is 180 hours worth of really fantastic side story, because the people who want to delve into that, that's where they're going to spend their time anyway.
And it's interesting that they've already told us there's kind of multiple endings as well. Yeah. So I wonder how that factors into it, whether they're saying that like maybe because they built a branching narrative end, that's where it becomes a bit shorter. There's still the same amount of main story content as well, but instead of like the end game content being 6 hours, it's 2 hours times 3.
Yep.
You know, like, so people are going to want to go back to that save and then play through a different part of the arc. Totally.
And then as they were showing off some other stuff within the game, there was sort of two main trailers here. One is Postcards from Night City, and the other one was Gangs of Night City. What we're seeing right now is Postcards from Night City. And this trailer,
Gangs,
The Woodsman, gave me strong GTA vibes.
Totally, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
It just had that feeling, and I think that's okay. The one little bit of hesitation I have about it is that it did that thing that the GTA has worn on me a little bit with, where the characters are kind of, in GTA, the characters are kind of self-aware, or the NPCs, not the main characters, kind of self-aware that they're in this ridiculous world, and that the Mark Zuckerberg characters, the news anchors and stuff, they all talk in this way where it's the most heightened version of this universe that they live in, and they say things that you would never actually say on television, that you would never actually do, and they're saying it in a sort of self-referential, they understand the pop culture satire that they're in. And I did get a little bit of that vibe from this trailer of a lot of the TV hosts, and one of them says something like, everything's fucked right now. And I'm like, oh, I hope that that's not the path we're heading down, where it's like all the TV shows are kind of like in jokes about how messed up the world is. Yeah, totally. I can see how they would fall into the GTA trap of being like, the world isn't fun without that kind of stuff. If the whole thing is Blade Runner, it's going to be very moody, very cool, and very dour. Yeah. And that could potentially be like not an engaging thing to walk around all the time. You'd just be depressed. That's true. So I wonder if, I mean, I'm sure they've tried to strike a balance there, and maybe they've gone too far in the satire direction and the self-awareness direction, because I agree that's a very GTA thing to do, is to go like every single
entity in the game understands it's in a game.
Yeah.
In the way that it reacts to the world. So, obviously this all looks really cool and like a normal, what you would expect of this kind of cyber future.
Yep.
But yeah, all this stuff looks the right tone,
Yep.
But it's like, it's just this one trailer that we've seen, and it's suddenly like this little shadow of what is the mood of this game then?
Yeah. And I'm not too concerned because I don't think it went nearly as hard on that. But I think that's a really good point of like, how do you make that space fun to be around? And also with the shorthand of going, it's very hard to come up with things like pop culture references in games. Like if you create TV shows and movies and stuff in video games, then they're not coming in with the baggage that a real TV show has, where you are like, if it's Breaking Bad or Friends or something, we all know those characters. So when you see a trailer for that show, you're like, well, I know all the backstory of what's happening, so they can just say one joke in this trailer, and I'm like, haha, that's funny because of X, Y, and Z, they're referring to this and blah, blah, blah. When you're creating a bunch of original IP within an original IP, then I guess there is an element of like, you need to have this shorthand of going that it needs to be funny and entertaining and engaging as something that you're seeing for the first time and you only see for 10 minutes throughout the course of an entire game or something. So,
which is where satire is obviously a really strong tool, because it's just
fall back
it's
on
hamming on things that you understand.
Yeah.
As opposed to as a shorthand to get you there.
Exactly. And then the other trailer that was playing was the Gangs of Night City, where it sort of shows, so you can't play as people in these gangs, and but there are a ton of them. There is just an absolute ton of different factions and rivalries within the city. They've all got very interesting looks. They all seem pretty diverse. Did any of this make you feel like you're excited to run into these people in an open world?
Sorry, I'm just trying to find. Was it at the end of the full episode? Because I downloaded the individual clip, but it was because it was in widescreen. It didn't have.
Here we go.
City.
This is it. Yeah. Tons of gangs in here. That's fine. Tons of gangs in here. Lots of different sort of like sort of archetypes that you can go with. I've seen some criticism of the fact that there's a couple of gangs. There's an Asian gang and there's a like Latinx gang that are kind of very broad stereotypes about what those kinds of gangs are. Like the Latin gang are just all sort of have bouncing cars, gold everywhere, the way they talk and everything. And I think that there's been some criticism online about how that's being treated in the game. I think that yes, that could be a bit problematic. It's definitely problematic if that's the only way that Latin people are portrayed in the game. But if they are portrayed in a multitude of ways and this is just one of them, then that becomes less problematic because they are basing it off, real life, or they are being inspired by real life people, I guess.
Yeah. I think here we go. This is them. It's a tricky balance, isn't it? Because this is a future. The real future that we're heading towards, kind of thing. So it's trying to extrapolate where we are today and to what will be in the future. I think if there's equal representation of awful gang people and equal representation of people who are good people just trying to live their life, then it's right.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a weird thing to throw in front of people's faces, something that is very based in stereotypes. I mean, this is as well, by the looks of it, very just like redneck America. Yeah. So I think again they're using shorthand in a world where we don't understand much, using things that we're familiar with as stereotypes as shorthand. Is how they're going to get us to understand what we're meant to be doing in the game.
Yeah. And as long as they got some Latin people who are also like, running an accounting firm or, helping friggin' like be a waiter or a CEO, then we've got like balance there, I feel like. And that's not too bad. So yeah, I'm just continue the excitement for this game. We're continuing to be assured that it is coming out in November, that there are no more delays. So I'll believe it when I see it, but it is coming very, very close. The last thing I'll mention here, and we'll just drop by quickly, they announced the PC specs required for this. Very low.
Yeah, totally achievable.
Yeah. I was surprised at how not intense this needs to be for what the game looks like.
Remind me of the recommended
Windows 10,
GPU?
DirectX 12. You want a Core i7 4790 processor, 12 gig of RAM, and the graphics card is a 1060 or higher. But the minimum requirements is a 780 and an i5. Yeah. So, it's going to run on most people's PCs.
Yeah. I mean, minimum specs, you'd scale them down till it looks like something from 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But like recommended, that's pretty achievable, I think, for most people. I mean, for most people who want to play it on a PC, you'd be better off buying a console to play it looking best for the price, but you'd probably get a PC like that for like $1,500 or something like that.
Yeah.
To be playing it on kind of like the recommended specs. So that's not too bad. But again, it would look better on the at least definitely the PS5 and Series X, but probably the consoles as well at that spec.
Yeah, totally. And also, it's not a huge download. It's going to be 70 gig, which is nothing like the sort of 200 gig that people were talking about. So I don't know how they're getting 70 gig for everything that they're promising and showing us, but I'm excited. I don't know. They're wizards over there. They'll just figure it out.
Compress that audio, baby.
Compress it right down and just cut it out. Just make it a text adventure. Yeah. Make it a mud. Steph will love it. Before we move on, I did see in the chat, I don't know if it's true or not, did someone submit The Boys as their profile picture that rotates through? Yeah. Whoever that person is, you're an asshole. It's also very funny.
I think we've had it twice, but maybe it was the same person twice.
That's a very funny bit. All right. Something that is not funny, a little weird. Michelle Ancel quits video games. So Michelle Ancel, co-creator of Rayman, that's great. More importantly, the creative director of Beyond Good and Evil 2, a game that has been in development for as long as I have been alive, today announced, or over the weekend, announced that he's stopping working on video games. The French designer started at Ubisoft when he was a teenager. After 30 years in the industry, mostly spent at Ubisoft, he says he wants to focus on his second passion, which is wildlife. And he's going to work in or open some sort of wildlife sanctuary.
Respect. Yeah, he's working in a pre-existing wildlife sanctuary. Respect. He's living the dream. He's clearly always been in love with animals. Rayman is a kind of animal. Humanoid animal.
That was a hell of a stretch. Rayman is a kind of animal.
He is.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. You could have started with the fact that there's a pig in Beyond Good and Evil 2.
I love it. I'm going to bring up the photo that he put on his Instagram because it's a little video actually that he put on his Instagram because it's adorable. This is my dream. Do something that does well. Back pocket. In 30 years' time, I'm going to leave Back Pocket and run an animal sanctuary.
That's exciting. And in 30 years' time, I'm going to propose that you don't leave and instead we just make a content arm of animal videos, just webcams on animals. I could do that, yeah. You could do that. The thing, so two things about this. One,
you little fucks.
You're right. Like, this is a beautiful dream for his. It's exciting that you're able to chase your passion. Good on you. Go do it. Go with God. Second, do you feel like he is leaving because the game Beyond Good and Evil 2 is just so out of control that he can't be associated with it anymore? It will never be finished. He doesn't want responsibility. And so what he's actually doing is leaving and saying the wildlife thing, which may be true, which probably is true, which is true, because it's like such a good guy move that he can never be blamed for leaving. You can never get angry at a man for abandoning a video game that you've been waiting for because he wants to go save animals, but you could get angry at a man for abandoning a video game because he wants to go like live on a Rocket, which is probably what he's also going to do.
Very interesting theory, Nicholas. I like it. Much. And you know who it immediately reminds me of? Dean Rocketworks Hall. who was like, this DayZ thing's never going to fucking work. I'm going to go and make my own indie thing. And the team's got it handled. And everyone's like, cool, man, you go do your thing. Nah. DayZ fell apart. His thing was average. I think maybe Gus played the VR one.
That feels right.
What was that called? But yeah.
So he's off. Also, it's a terrible time for anyone. He must really want to go as well, because it's a terrible time for anyone leaving Ubisoft, because you are grouped in with a bunch of people that have been forced out of Ubisoft, and it's like, why are you leaving now as well? And I'm sure that this is entirely on the up and up, because they would have said something. But yeah, it's just like, I would have given it another 2 months to just be like, I don't want to be associated with the group of people who have left Ubisoft for the last 3 months.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah.
I look forward to pictures of his animals on Instagram.
Me too.
Up next, 2 new Monster Hunter games. We go from saving animals to hunting them. Coming to Switch next year. There was a Nintendo Switch mini direct last week, I believe at midnight.
I'm going to call my character Michelle Ancelled.
Do it. That's very funny. By the way, I got the Eminem reminder earlier, but we've got 12 buckets at the office, so we don't
we're fine.
The Direct didn't have a huge amount in it. There was a couple of ports of things. Hades came to Switch on that day, which is very exciting. The big announcement was that the 2 new Monster Hunter games. So Capcom announced Monster Hunter Rise for Nintendo Switch, coming March 26, 2021, which I think is also the day that those Mario games will no longer be allowed to be digitally purchased for some reason. The game resembles a traditional Monster Hunter, but with far more freedom of movement. And the Rise title is meant to communicate the idea of verticality, which will be a major part of the game. Players will be able to use new wire bugs, which act as a grappling hook. The wire bug can be used in combat too, to allow for versatile, fast-paced combat. Did you do the Monster Hunter thing?
No, I did the most recent one for a bit. I think it's called World or something. But it just felt like a very, very old style JRPG world. Like tree line you're funneled in every part of the world, and then you hit a loading screen at the end of a funnel, and then it opens into another little play area, and that kind of world building or world design. This the combat was fun enough, and it was definitely fun enough when I wanted more Souls style combat. So I think maybe what I've seen from this is like the most exciting Monster Hunter for me. There's like a lot more openness to the world in the way that you can obviously clearly move around this space.
Very cool.
The verticality is a good thing, because it means you're going to be able to get over those stupid canyons and get out into an actual open world. The only thing, again, the design doesn't particularly gel with me. Like big fat belly crocodile cute thing. Like it's fun. It's a different flavor, but it's not completely up my alley, but yeah, I think worth checking out.
The interesting thing for me is I think I played one Monster Hunter on Pocket years ago. ABC Pocket, not Patreon Pocket. 2 very different things, if anyone asks. I think I played it for a first look at some point there, and I never played any of the others. And then I played Monster Hunter World, really enjoyed my time with it. You're right, it's definitely a throwback to or it's like a very deliberate style of game, which is like, you're going to play it in the way that we want you to play this, and what we want you to do is grind your ass off. But that is the Monster Hunter games. But when I played Monster Hunter World, which I enjoyed, I was like, God, this would be really good if it was not on a console. It was in fact something that I could just do while I'm watching TV and blah, 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 which is what all the other Monster Hunter games were. And then with this, I'm like, yes, this is what I wanted. I will probably play more of this than I did World, and I played a fair bit of World, because those grindy games, I just don't like grindy games. I don't have time for grindy games when it comes to like sitting down and doing something. If I'm going to sit down and focus on something, I don't want to be focusing on something that I've already done 30 times. And that's why even something like Destiny, which I really like and I dip in and out of, it's like I dip in, I do stuff, and then I dip out and I just come back for the new things, because I go, I don't want to keep running the same stuff all the time when I could be doing something else. But I will do it if I'm also sitting down watching, Bachelor in Paradise. We want to get some Batch and Para on. And then I go, oh, who's fucking sexy tattooed man. Who's he going to pick? Oh, they're all drunk and just sexing each other up on the island. That's interesting. And then just as I'm whacking some adorable little creature over the head until it dies.
Would you say that this combat is a bit too complex to be doing that, though? At least in a monster fight, right? Like open world stuff, pretty easy to just like slash at, but
yeah.
You can't be watching Love Island while fighting Decamahudron or whatever it's called.
I think you are wildly overestimating how much you need to pay attention to Bachelor in Paradise in order to understand what's going on.
Yeah,
like you can literally look up at you just need to look up every time you hear a new couple voices, you just need to look up like, who are these fuckwits? Oh yeah, that's right. And then you just continue on with your life. So yeah, and once the thing with these games is once you figure out, it's Dark Souls-esque, but it's not like Dark Souls. Once you figure out how these attacks go, it's it wasn't that hard. Like that game's not that hard. So yeah, so I'll probably get into it. I may even get into even more the second game they announced, Monster Hunter Stories 2. The cel-shaded story-led RPG releases in summer of 2021 and casts you as a monster rider rather than a hunter, as the descendant of a legendary monster rider
is Michelle Ancelled.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Your story will start with the investigation of mass disappearance of Rathalos from their natural habitats. It's promised that you'll be able to ride and forge bonds with a variety of well-known monster hunter beasts. From the trailer, we know that Rathalos and Engenath will be among them, in addition to Wings of Ruin being a story-led RPG in the Monster Hunter universe. Capcom has also said there will be compatibility with the upcoming Monster Hunter Rise on Switch. It's not clear what that connectivity is.
Yeah. Maybe in Rise you'll get to murder the bird beast that you fly in this game.
Oh, I like
Wouldn't
that.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Wouldn't that be cool? It's like in Last of Us, and mild spoilers for Last of Us, but you develop attachments to animals that you also kill. So it could be exactly like this. How does this art style work out for you?
This looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. Yeah, this is like a great Saturday morning cartoon. Like I'd be totally in for this. Yeah. Digimon on steroids.
I feel like it's like Pokemon, like Monster Hunter Stories is Pokemon, Digimon, the dream of, if only we could just capture, make friends with animals and forge these bonds and be able to genuinely become best friends with creatures that help each other through our lives. And then Monster Hunter is reality, which is, no, we just kill these things and harvest their bodies. So this to me is probably a game that I was seeing more time into than even Monster Hunter Rise, because yes, I like the idea of being able to forge those bonds and make friends. I love the look of it as well. Anything cel shaded again. And it'll be interesting to see what that connectivity is.
Yeah, totally.
There's some love in the chat for these games. There you go.
We're getting shade because I called an anime a cartoon, but aren't they the same thing?
Yeah, please define the difference, because isn't cartoon what? I'm going to look up the definition of cartoon, because cartoon isn't it a casual?
No. Oh God, no.
Yeah, but that's all just the anime people.
Japan calls cartoons anime. That's my understanding as well.
So here we go. Cartoon. A simple drawing showing the features of its subjects in a humorously exaggerated way. Not that, but 2, a film using animation techniques to photograph a sequence of drawings rather than real people or objects. So I think that...
Shadowmar's not going to become a patron now. I promise I'll call everything animated an anime from now on.
Anime is short for animation, sure, but that's just short for animation. The cartoon is just a word for animation, right? Like we're all on the same page here, except for the fact that most anime sucks and that most cartoons are awesome. That's the only difference, right, Pete?
Agreed. Games with Planet says anime is only anime to Westerners. That's a good point as well. I mean, I don't know if that's a fact, but if it's like us calling German
Chinese food
Porsches.
Yeah, right.
Porsche.
Okay,
it's
right.
Porsche.
It's like the Chinese food thing, where they don't call it Chinese food in China; they just call it food.
there's so much anger in the chat, but we've got people on our side as well. I like that.
Yeah, I just want people to know that you are fooling yourself if you think that most anime is good. It is. It is. Most of it is time filler. I think that there are very good animes. Don't get me wrong. I love me some.
I love this. Not all anime. You love Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan.
I love me Attack on Titan. I love me some Cowboy Bebop. I love me some Yuri on Ice. I love me all the Studio Ghibli films.
Samurai Champloo.
But I'll tell you what, you could take 4,000 of those Dragon Ball episodes and you can just stick them where the sun don't shine. And you could probably give me 6 of them and I'll get the entire story.
Dragon Ball is such a good thing to bring up of what doesn't work about anime. The 4,000 episodes that can be accurately condensed down into 30 minutes. Yeah. It's like, oh, he was just summoning that spirit bomb all season. If it's like, fucking just throw it, mate.
If the majority of your art forms content series come with a viewer's guide to say you could skip 80% of these episodes and here's the ones you need to watch to be able to get the full experience, then you have made a mistake when it comes to storytelling. That is what I'm here to tell you. So this is our platform. We can say whatever we want. Most anime sucks. There's some good stuff out there. Cartoons forever.
We should clip this bit out when it goes up to YouTube so no one can. Oh, people are going to clip it on Twitch.
I am going to just refresh the Patreon. It's gone up. So there we go. We've got people on our side.
Shadowmud lied. Shadowmud did subscribe.
T59 says someone needs to call Raj. Dusk Bunny says I'm making more hentai. See, that's very different to anime.
Yeah.
I'm fully supportive of that. That is a genuine art form. Anime is just something that you do while you're waiting for your League of Legends queue to pop. Alrighty. Now that we've pissed off multiple communities, let's move on to something much less controversial, and that was Microsoft threw a data center into the ocean, and it turns out it's great.
Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk that water was good at cooling things?
Who would have thought that water and electricity go really well together? So I saw this story, and it's not necessarily video game directly related, but I did just think it was super interesting, and so I wanted to shout it out. So for the past few years, Microsoft have been operating that thing you see right there, an underwater data center submerged 117 feet beneath the water surrounding the Orkney Islands in Scotland. Earlier this summer, they fished it out, cleaned off the sea scum, declared the project a resounding success. So this came up during Think Week, which in 2014, which is this Microsoft thing where employees are like encouraged to just bring up weird and crazy ideas, and they go, let's see if any of this will work. And the big benefit, Peter, as you said, to putting stuff underwater like a data center that run very hot is that the water is very cold.
Yeah. So obviously there's a massive expense in any server room of just keeping the frickin' thing cool. I'm sure it's very expensive to put servers underwater as well. But Microsoft have determined that it's cheaper to put them underwater than it is to put fans facing towards them.
Totally. I did think so. So just some details about this before they submerged the data center. So it uses the same heat exchanging plumbing as what is found on a submarine.
Submarines, yeah.
Before they submerged it, they filled the pod with dry nitrogen because the atmosphere of nitrogen is less corrosive than oxygen. They also thought that this would prove advantageous over land-based data centers. Also, having it underwater would eliminate failures from engineers bumping into cables and components when servicing the racks, which just seems like the dumbest thing that can happen, but I'm sure is probably the most common occurrence as to why Google goes down is someone stepped on a cable.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it happens all the time. And it's like, yeah, the result was that they have an eighth of the amount of failures with this than they do with traditional on-land server rooms, right?
Which is wild. That is correct. So an eighth the amount of failures. And then, and that is so low that when people said, well, what about servicing racks when they fail? Like, what if one server of the 600 servers or however many you have in there fail, you can't go in there to get it. You need to fish it out and do it. And they said because the failure rate is so low compared to lane-based data centers, they think that they'll just need to bring these up once every 5 years, swap them all out. And if servers go down, they won't even bother maintaining them. They'll just switch it off because they go, it's still more efficient for us to just run it like this and change them out every 5 years. Which, yeah, anyway, I love this sort of thing where I just go, oh, this is that cool sort of, yeah, we've decided to do something this way now, and it's weird and kind of futuristic, and it turns out it's actually awesome.
Yeah, totally. I think there was a note there, and I'm not sure how much to make of it, but that these, because they're portable and can be obviously put underwater, they're actually going to be potentially really useful for smaller island states to give them access to good server speeds.
Yes.
For gaming and for downloads and for that kind of thing. I mean,
apparently coastal populations, cloud services, video gaming and regular web surfing should be faster because, yeah, you can float these things scattered all over the place. So it's kind of benefits all the way around.
The Wigan says that their girlfriend just walked past and said that we look similar. Wigan and I look similar today. Which is a shame because she thinks Gus is by far the best looking out of the three of you. And I would say that Gus with his like 80s hair and guy liner on probably does.
Oh, the Last of Us, the Last of Gus,
the Last of Gus.
Yeah, I will take offense to by far the best looking out of you. Yeah. I'm fine with someone thinking that he's the best looking because Gus is a very handsome human being. But the by far, I feel like whether from Wigan or Wigan's
didn't need to be thrown in there.
That feels unnecessary. Like,
absolutely.
That's not what I need to hear when I'm literally on camera with my face, my hideous face.
Wigan, can you put your headset on your girlfriend for a second? Because we just want to inform her that he is very single.
That's true. He is.
So she has a shot, Wigan. Just let her know that she has a shot.
And his personality is much less abrasive and awful than it appears on camera. Like in real life, he's actually a really nice human being. On camera, though, he's a monster. I don't believe that at all. Gus is a wonderful human being. And Pete and I actually... Oh, no, I shouldn't say
We're
that.
the monsters.
No, I won't say that.
Is that what you're going to say?
What?
We're the monsters?
No, I was going to say that idea for a show we had a few months ago.
It's still a good idea. Once we get a bit of breathing room, it could work.
I just feel like...
And thankfully, he still left the door wide open for it.
We did. We should set some new stretch goals on the Patreon to really start getting those numbers up where we can justify bringing in that sort of weird, but also real community-driven content that the people want. Hashtag Get Gus a Single, which just trended hard on the Discord over the weekend. So that's Microsoft data centers. Sony, not putting things in the ocean, taking words and feet out of their mouths, retracting the fact that Demon's Souls, when it was announced in the PlayStation 5 showcase, they had the trailer for Demon's Souls and included the disclaimer also available on PC. Sony then set that trailer to private, stated that the end card was an error. Quote, the incorrect text was a result of human error, a Sony representative told PC Gamer. The representative stated that Demon's Souls is exclusive to PS5, and when pushed about is it a lifetime exclusive, is it ever coming to PC, they just said it is exclusive to PlayStation 5.
Yeah. I mean, I got excited when I saw that end card because I was like, oh, cool, I'll just play it on PC. And then it was immediately redacted, which is fair because as you guys were saying on the show on Thursday night, like this is a big reason for you. This is another big like justifier for the console for you to be like, oh, cool, I can play this game now and it's going to look really good and feel really good. I can't imagine they're lying that they have plans to release it on PC at the moment because that would just be awful optics. It's like they made the mistake of letting that card slip. They've redacted that. If they now in 6 months' time, after 6 months after the console releases, people buy this system to play this game, go, oh, actually, it was always coming to PC. That's going to seem like a real dog move.
How long for you does that gap need to be? Because
3 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
You
If it's not 3
Flinch.
years, if it's not 3 years, I will feel like they deliberately deceived the public in saying that it's not coming to PC. Definitely.
Wow, 3 years.
Yeah, because if it exists already for PC, then they could release it within 12 months, right?
Yeah,
Like they could port it across. If in 18 months it's doing really well and they're like, you know what, we don't need this as an exclusive anymore, and then it's another, okay, so 2.5 years. That's my window. Because otherwise I do feel like it's dodgy as fuck.
That's interesting. Because I think that I don't think they're lying, but I think they're just being, like you said before, they're being very deliberate with their wording.
Yeah.
The incorrect text was a result of human error. The human error was you were not supposed to release that part.
I'm not meant to announce that yet.
Yeah, that was the human error. And that it's exclusive to PlayStation 5 does not, that's like for now, or like it's something could be exclusive for a day and then not be. But I would say after a year, I would be fine with that. Maybe that's just me, but I go like, if the only thing you bought a console for was this game and you didn't play anything else for a year, then I would question your purchasing choices full stop.
Yeah, sure.
This was the only thing that you wanted to play, and that over the course of a year you got no other joy out of that game, out of that console.
Yeah. It's not even about getting the value out of the console. It's now that they've said that this doesn't and won't exist for PC.
Yeah.
And so if it does and will,
this will get brought up.
It's a lie. It's a lie.
Yeah.
Like there's withholding information, and then they've made the error and now they've lied to cover it up, or they haven't lied to cover it up and they will just change tack in the future, but far enough in the future where I deem it it's acceptable.
But have they? That's my question. But have they lied, or have they just very carefully picked their words? Which I know is a very fine line. But we're not talking about relationships here. We're talking about marketing.
They said not coming to PC.
Yeah. Okay.
Because like console exclusive window, fine.
Yep.
That's we're familiar with that. And if this piece of information hadn't slipped, then sure, they just didn't tell us. And again, I feel like there's a difference between omitting, and they could have been fine omitting and then releasing the game in 6 months' time on PC. Yep. But because the information is out on an official piece and on an official document,
yep,
for them to take it back, take that information away from the public, to me is the only way they're doing that is by lying, not by returning to omitting information. They are removing information and lying to the public.
All right. Who would have thought that this would be the thing that
I'm mad
brings
about
down? See. This is why it's so important that there is a diversity of opinions among two white men with mustaches. that this is the stuff that you get fired up about, and I'm like, why is this a big deal at all? Companies lie to us all the time.
It's the way they lie to us.
Yeah, but this is totally the thing that you go to bat for, and God bless you, sir. I mean, if he existed, God bless you. I don't know why I had to say that and probably alienate part of our audience, but you know.
We've already pissed off the anime people this morning.
I mean, look, that was the most fun thing I've done this morning. Less fun, Jet the Far Shore, delayed to 2021. So the hits just keep on coming for PlayStation. On Friday, developer Super Brothers announced that its new science fiction game, Jet the Far Shore, has been delayed until sometime in 2021. The game was originally scheduled for this holiday. It's still expected to release simultaneously for PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and PC, or is it via the Epic Games Store? According to a statement made by the studio, delaying was the best option it had, both for the quality of the game and the health of the people making it.
But was it the best option, or are they lying again?
See, this is it. You can't turn it off now. This is like when Gus was doing segues on Thursday Night Show, and I couldn't trust anything he said was not just a setup for a segue. Now, all you see is corporations lying.
Well, I mean, obviously, Super Brothers have made some beautiful, beautiful games, and this looks beautiful as well. So they should take all the time they need and, not fall into that trap of getting caught up in a hype and getting pushed out early. Again, I don't think it's like, because of the design of the game, propelled by dreams, because of the design of the game, I don't think it's going to have the No Man's Sky effect of taking the world by storm. So it's not in danger of becoming the next No Man's Sky.
Yep.
So that Sony
terms
were
of,
never
like,
going to
expectations?
and Sony were never going to make it a launch title or something like that because of the fever behind the hype of it. But they should just take the time, because I think this will just be it looks like a very moody game where not necessarily a lot happens, but it will be an enjoyable experience. It's like,
sorry, but when you said they weren't going to make it, it was announced at the PlayStation 5 reveal, and it was scheduled for a holiday 2020 release. But do you mean that they were never going to put the sort of push behind it that they did?
Yes, yeah. Like Sony aren't going to Super Brothers and going like, no, it has to be a fucking launch title,
right?
Because it's going to move consoles. It's like it's not that kind of game, so there's not that pressure behind it.
Yeah,
there you go. Holiday 2020, not anymore. Lies.
And again, I feel like I like that you see. So you see lies in the corporations when they're like, we're doing this thing and we're probably trying to screw you in some way. I see lies in all the people who are trying to help each other and the animals, because I'm like, when you delay your game and you say it's not only for the quality of the game but also for the health of the people making it, I'm like, well, I can't argue with that now, can I? Now I can't get angry and righteous. Who am I gonna dox now? Who can I send death threats to now? Because you're all like, it's for the health. It's not just because you're lazy, like most people who delay video games are. It's just laziness. That's all it is.
Do we live in a world where we need to have a service that exists online that you can send death threats and hate mail to in lieu of the other person, and there's someone at the other end that responds in a hurt way, so that you get your dig in, like the knife goes in?
Wow.
Is that have we entered that society?
So, because I was going to say, it's like when people are like, if you're angry at your boss or something.
You mean Twitter, right? Reese Wild says.
Write the angry email and then delete it so that you at least purge the thoughts from your system. But this goes one further. This is like, I feel like I need to murder somebody. So send me a Detroit Become Human AI doll that I could just stab until it stops, and that way I won't hurt real people. Yeah,
but it's like, you direct your anger towards someone, and then there's an actor on the other end that plays the part of that person, so you get to see your hate mail land.
I like that you keep framing this as though it's not that you can purge these feelings or that you can learn to process your emotions with more nous. No. But you keep going just so you can see it land, you could really have hurt somebody today, which is all you want to do.
Well, the only reason I bring that up is because I recently listened to that episode of Reply All where that those people made a service that was like, send those emails. They write the emails that you could never bring yourself to send.
Yeah.
And they were like, it was like you're hiring someone to be your emotional, like,
all right,
to carry your emotional baggage. This is just someone to be your emotional punching bag.
Okay. I can get on board with this. Sithcat says we need one of those smash rooms where you break plates. Nitrotech says in our work Slack we had a bot called Butters that we could just yell at when we were mad.
Perfect. That's all I'm talking about.
Maybe is it? Do you think we would foster a negative community if we put a bot in our chat that was just designed to send abuse to?
In Twitch chat?
No, sorry, in our Discord.
Oh, right, yeah. There should be a Hurt Me Plenty channel.
All right, we'll figure that out. And, but I insist that I get to see the messages that people send. That no one else can see them. And it's like you send it and then it just goes straight to the bot, and then the bot replies with, "Oh, I feel awful." But I insist that all of them are saved and I get to see. Anime abuse bot, yeah.
Yeah, good.
Totally. Silent Cloud says, I literally just suggest that. Well, we didn't see it, did we? You know? Maybe if you were Loud Cloud, then we would have noticed. But instead, you're Silent Cloud. So maybe that's on you. And now you're all hurt and angry. Go right to the bot about how much you hate me. The final story of the day, Peter Burns.
Yeah, baby.
You tell me about this one, because you added this at the end.
I did. This is Wingspan, the acclaimed board game or tabletop game of 2019 has been digitized, and it looks beautiful.
It does look very nice.
I don't play a lot of tabletop games like this. Apparently, this is called an engine tabletop game, where you kind of like the concept is to min max kind of how you approach the win conditions. So you might want to have a lot of big birds, or you might want to have a lot of eggs at the end of the game.
Cool.
So there's actually it's a beautifully designed tabletop game, and all of that's come across and is animated now. And I just wanted to bring it up because I thought it was adorable. And I'm sure there are people who've played Wingspan Engine Builder. Yeah, it's amazing.
Michelle Ancelled is hard as stone right now.
Absolutely. And look at that art. That's just like through the whole thing.
I assume that the cards look like all the cards that are actually in the game.
Yeah, except they've been animated, Gus style, like liquefied some of the still assets, I think, and just like put a little wiggle in them. They look nice.
It's beautiful.
Sorry, the reason I bring it up was because I was like, yeah, more tabletop games getting good transfer across to PC is cool, particularly these days when we can't get into each other's homes as easily with COVID.
Totally. And so you've played this for real?
Yeah, I've played it for real.
Does Steph remember playing this?
I'm sure she would.
Yep. This looks very beautiful. I mean, I love tabletop board games. I own so many of them. I've played maybe literally a quarter of the ones that I own. There are some that are still there are $130 European designer board games that are still in the cling wrap that just sit in my cupboard because I hoard them. But yeah, stuff like this, stuff like Carcassonne had a really fantastic transition to digital. When they nail it, it's so good. When they don't nail it and you need to use like Tabletop Simulator, and you're like, you have to really love and want to play this game for that to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, something like this looks absolutely perfect. So I'm very much into this.
Yeah, and it's very much at the core like a card-based game. So I think people who haven't played the game who have played CCGs will at least have some connective tissue to be like. I mean, it's not a CCG, but there's at least that link where it looks like it makes sense. I'll bring it back up. It looks like it makes sense as a video game because there's cards everywhere. You know, it's not a CCG, but is it a deck builder? Yeah, in a way.
Yeah.
Not like you end up with like 8 to 10 kind of birds on the board. So it's not really about like you collect like if you're trying to min-max, you will collect like cards that are working towards like. I mean, I don't want to explain the whole board game because we're here for another hour.
Fine. No,
it's
like
fine. Yeah, it's like it is about working towards your individual goals that are going to earn you more points at the end. So, you kind of have strategies.
Do you have the rulebook handy? Could you just crack it open and just punch out a couple of pages? No. So it's out right now. It's $26 on Steam right now. Very positive reviews. You can play 1 to 5 players, so you can play solo, which is the advantage of a lot of this. I mean, maybe you could play solo in the action ball game, but the advantage of doing digital as well is that you don't even need to be teaming up with other people. You can either play online or play against AI.
There is a solo mode in the tabletop version as well. But
absolutely getting this.
Is there a package version of it as well, so you can buy it for your friends to play? I like when you do that, where you can buy like a 5-pack for a discount.
There is a special edition. Let's see what it gets you. It gets you the soundtrack. Yeah. So there you go. So no, there isn't. So you're all going to have to buy it individually. But yes, lovely. That looks very cool. I'm excited for that. That's the kind of thing. That's the kind of thing I need. That's the kind of thing I need in my life. An excellent game for those of us without friends, says Headcat. That's why you're a part of the Pocketeer community, because there are people who are always wanting to play video games with you. I get messages from Pocketeers at 11:30 at night saying, hey, we're cracking on to the 47th game of Among Us tonight. Do you want to come hang out? I'm like, no.
I got that message. For some reason, I got the notification at 1 a.m. I was like, they're well and truly finished by now. They weren't, but I was finished for the
Yeah, right. And and to be clear, the no is not because you're not wonderful people that I want to spend time with, but the no is like, I'm absolutely dead to the world at that point, or useless, or I'm playing something where I'm just like, you don't want to be around me at 1:30 in the morning. I wrote a lengthy Discord message at 1:30 this morning, filled with red licorice. This is the world that I live. This is like, I can't be playing board games. I have licorice to eat. What am I even talking about? It's Monday. I'm just rattling at this point.
It's not 1 a.m.
Am I just filling time? We don't need time to fill. We're done. Are we done with the news?
I think we're done.
We've got a less hectic week on this week, I believe, than we did last week.
Less hectic in terms of back pocket content. Hectic in terms of, well, another big week in terms of what Low-Key's up to. Again, Wednesday night. The main show will be on Wednesday night this week. So make sure you're there on Wednesday night, not on Thursday night, because we won't be there on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Unless, it depends what kind of personnel we need. But I know, Nick, you're thinking about playing some of that thing.
Oh, yes, Paradise Killer.
That one.
Yes, I'm going to carve out some time. I was like, could I do it tonight? Maybe. Could I do it tomorrow? Maybe. Could I do it Thursday?
Oh,
maybe. So I'll figure out something and I'll let everybody know. Yeah, so back pocket Wednesday night, I should actually tell my family, who I have not told that is what's happening this week. And tomorrow we've got a playback coming up of Best Friend Forever, episode 2.
Yeah.
I just watched the cut this morning. It is very good. It is very good because lots of funny stuff happens, as you would expect, because Steph and I are incredibly charming and entertaining people to watch. But also, we meet a very special person within this game that, spoiler alert, puts everyone else to shame and is the most ridiculously perfect human being. It is just, you are watching. The character we meet is someone where you just go, the writer of this game has a very specific type and kink, and they have just written it verbatim into a video game.
Could you be more perfect?
Yeah, so it was very enjoyable to run into the most perfect person who you could ever imagine, and we had a lot of fun with that. So that'll go up tomorrow. Wednesday show. At some point, a stream. And Gus is writing something right now to us in the Slack, and I'm sure he's about to remind us of something that we have also forgotten. So, and then Wednesday we got the news as well. So there's lots of. I
went across to the Slack, and there was a message from Gus that said, "No idea." I'm sure that's not the one he just composed, but
no. A question, and we should definitely not do this on air, but we're here now. Should we do the news on Thursday?
No,
as opposed to Wednesday. No?
You can run
no,
it.
That's right, because Thursday, there's a reason we're not doing the thing on Thursday. Because you're busy. Oh, Peter.
I mean, if Gus could run it, maybe.
And I'm in charge of scheduling, so
Gus has to do it.
That's a nightmare. Okay, cool. Yeah, good point.
Yeah. It's a bit of a crazy.
Nothing changes, Sweephead. Now that would be hectic. Nope. It won't be. The boys just popped back up as well. So I think that's our cue to leave. They don't need to get any more free advertising from us.
Should we raid Osher Gunsberg?
Is Osher Gunsberg live?
Yeah, he's riding a bike.
100% we should raid Osher Gunsberg. No one mentioned the shit I talked about The Bachelor earlier. Osher's a delight. How many people? What's Osher's Twitch name? What's Osher?
Osher Gunsberg.
That's. Look, the odds of you getting that username are pretty good, I imagine.
I'm typing it on my phone, and autocorrect does not recognize at Osher Gunsberg.
Guys, we have more people watching us than he does. So can we please raid Osher? Yeah, and everyone be really nice, because Osher is actually a genuinely cool dude who I think has made such a great pivot from the sort of Channel V host of, basically us into, he entered the mainstream very successfully, and he has also documented his life and his struggles in life with an honesty and an openness that you do not expect from people.
Great raid message from, I'm not sure if he brought it up first, but I see from Kit Carnage, and that's not my robot. Raid message is make Gus the next Bachelor.
That's good. Yeah, okay, good.
All right, here we go. Going in 3, 2, okay.
See ya.